Come on. Hi. Yeah, everybody. Yes, just my dog going crazy. Yeah. Hello, Tabs here again. Yeah. I see my last live got deleted. I don't know, something YouTube had something going on. But yeah, we're back with another DC Friday film news. I just named that right now. So I don't know. I wanna try and you know, do this every Friday, or just see what kind of frequency I can get it to. Or just do exclusively DC film news because all my friends know that I'm a huge DC films fan. I'm a huge Marvel Comics film fan, but I grew up on DC, grew up on the Batman, Superman. Obviously, Superman is the ish when it came up with Batman, just dominated from Batman Forever, Batman Robin, Batman Returns. I mean, come on, all of those movies, yeah, they're goated for me. So today we're gonna start off with some DC news. I'm gonna keep the Joker film news for last, and the first subject for today is DC Films has apparently approached Luca what Luca Luca Guadagnino, the G. Uh, yeah, then and people are wondering which, like, okay, news reporters are wondering which film will he adapt. Um, yeah, it says this is an article I saw off vulture.com, and yeah, but these guys. Uh, yeah, rumor has it that Luca Guadagnino is being courted by Warner Brothers to make a film in the James Gunn DCU. The insider is the one spreading that gossip. I mean, people, LA slang, spreading the goss, spreading the word. Yeah, they're spreading the gossip, and apparently a lot of people are happy about it. I don't know why. Like Luca Guadagnino is what I know about his films is basically he does all these romantic stuff, romantic films. I know he's got like one or two one or two, crime thriller films, but mostly he's just on this romantic tip, man. So yeah, but let's see what the article says further. Um, a lot of people are thinking, according to this article, a lot of people think it would be a good idea, because not every director needs to get absorbed by the IP monster currently running Hollywood, but it's time for a deeply horny comic book movie. Exactly what I said, man. He's romantic, touchy feely, I don't know, sucky fucky. Part of my language, but yeah, that's what that's what he's on. Um, the MCU is notoriously sexless, and Guadagnino. Okay, this article is losing me real quick. Guadagnino, joining the other team could be a major course correction. So here are some queer, sexually fraught, or otherwise freaky DC soups that could use the Luca touch. Yeah. Okay, so these are just a list of movies that think they think that could use that erotic Luca thing touch. But yeah, let's go to them. They think that uh, the Teen Titans will have to be aged up in the Young Justice era. Why? Because the name is Teen Titans. Obviously, uh, I think DC can obviously beat Marvel to the punch because Marvel, they're not doing the Young Avengers. They're not reported to be doing anything according to the Young Avengers. I mean, the Kang storyline is scrapped, and the Young Avengers basically centered on the not in the comics. The Young Avengers centered on a young Kang being Iron Lad, like reimagining himself as Iron Man. But the okay, not necessarily that it has to follow the the comic book route, but it clearly is not getting made anytime soon. No news has been spoken about it. Obviously, they've hinted at it in the movies, but the whole reshuffle, rejig at Marvel means that it's not going to be made anytime soon. So, yeah. So apparently they were like Timmy Chalamet in the role of a young Tim Drake, and they like him to be bisexual. Yeah, man, I'm kind of feeling that everything Cartman said about Hollywood these days is right. You know, just put a chick in it and make it gay. But man, I don't discriminate, but I kind of a lot of these things kind of it's like I kind of feel that's not really the point of the Young Justice uh series. The Young Justice things was like the Young Justice um series. Everything I've watched in the Young Justice. Okay, actually, to be honest, if I remember the series correctly, Young Justice was kind of, on that. Did have some gay, bisexual themes. Young Justice deals with a lot of themes that are very relevant to this day and age, and it would make sense if they follow the series. But I kind of feel it shouldn't be like the main driving thing about the movie. It should be just like, he's just a superhero who happens to be gay or bisexual or whatever. Like that's his thing. But I don't feel like it should like be the thing, the main thing. Let's just keep the thing, the main thing. Young Justice deal with their own issues that the Justice League is either too busy to deal with, or they're on another mission, or Justice League has too much drama to deal with what the Young Justice can deal with. So yeah. Um. Oh yeah. I'd also like. They also suggest that they'd like to see someone play Terra. Terra is like a member of the Young Justice who betrays them, but it's obviously a love interest to the young Robin. Yeah. So the next one is Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson, according to my knowledge, I've only ever seen him with um Starfire. They have a kid together. They happily married, all of that stuff. So I don't really know what's gonna be happening in this. Uh, yeah, they said a Wonder Woman. They suggest Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman could be okay. They know that Wonder Woman. They know that Wonder Woman has just been done, but since this is obviously a reboot of the whole universe, that they want to see. They'd like to see these films go back to Wonder Woman's fetish content roots, like bondage, thirds, lesbian separatism. It's all in the text. Less 1984, more Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, which is probably like an old movie that I have not seen. I've seen a lot, but I haven't seen that. Or probably a comic that I've not seen. I'm not really like a big Wonder Woman fan. Um, Probably not. Not. I'm more of a DC films fan than DC Comics fan, but I kind of like to delve into the comics every now and then. Martian Manhunter. Okay, they don't even know how the Martian Manhunter would, fit in these things because the Martian Manhunter has never been one to be in a relationship. I've never seen him depicted in a relationship, and yeah, they like to see something with him, you know, kissy, kissy, bang, bang type ish. So yeah, Booster Gold. Okay, they just rattle off a couple names, like the question or AKA Vic Sage. Um, they say the questions. Protege Renee Montoya is a lesbian and ex-cop and looks cool in a suit. Yeah, and they also name Blue Beetle and Booster Gold as other options. Uh, oh yeah, that's it. That's the whole article. Not really much to go on there, but so they're basically just speculating on what this would be about, what what Luca Guadagnino's DCU film would be about. So let's go on to the next topic. Batman is perhaps the Batman has perhaps the best rogues gallery in all of the DC universe. I'm convinced the Batman part. This is another article by Screen Rant, basically. And they're convinced that the Batman Part Two, which is also not like a DCU, not the James Gunn reboot, is it's a follow up to the Batman, the Matt Reeves one that came out, which is kind of controversial to some people. Some people like the old school thing, but the ending was controversial because they felt like he didn't really have a bad guy. He was fighting a mafia thing, not that memorable to a lot of people, but it made money, so yeah. That's what Warner Brothers happy about, man. So let's see. It says that the Batman has introduced and established worlds of DC villains, including the Penguin and the Joker, and it seems that the cast of the Batman 2 intends to make that world even bigger. Uh, yeah. The film will likely introduce multiple established villains to the world, and I believe Matt Reeves intends to focus on a group less explored in cinema. With so many villains to choose from, it is inevitable that the Batman Part 2 villain choices will disappoint some. It's a grounded thing. It's it's more grounded. So um, I I don't think Matt Reeves is gonna go for anything spectacular like Mr. Freeze or who else, Clayface or maybe Scarecrow, but I don't know. Scarecrow could maybe kind of fit in it, but yeah. Let's carry on with the article. The article says that some have theorized that the villains, ranging from Mr. Freeze to Hush, could be the film's primary antagonist. However, looking into the makeup of the universe and how theatricality has been combined in real world crime-focused stakes, as I said, more grounded, there appears to be a more recent group of villains who would be the perfect for Batman to face in the upcoming film. Recent comments from Reeves have only made this even more likely. Um, New comments from about the Batman Part Two have convinced that the sequel plans to make use of the Court of Owls. Court of Owls is like a very hush hush kind of Illuminati kind of group in the Batman universe. Uh, Seen most recently in the not the latest animated Batman, but like the previous one. I just forget the name now, but yeah. Deadline reported comments from director Matt Reeves to SFX magazine, where Reeves explained that the Batman Part 2 is going to dig into the epic story about deeper corruption, and it goes into places that he couldn't anticipate in the first one. The expansion of the crime saga elements points directly to the Court of Owls. The Secret Cabal would follow on from the setup of the first film and would expand the scope and the size of the saga. Yeah, man. Apparently, the Court of Owls control everything. They control the bad guys, the good guys. They control everything. They basically decide how everything goes in Gotham City. So yeah, Reeves also commented on the relationship of the sequel to the first film, saying the seeds of where this goes are all in the first movie, and expands on the way that will show you the aspects of the character you never got to see. Tracing the plot of the Batman and its details that relate to conspiracy in Gotham City makes sense to expand upon in the sequel with the Court of Owls. The group feel like a natural progression from the film and the stakes of crime in Gotham City. And compared to other Batman films, this I have to say, the one thing that this previous Batman has showed is that this iteration of Batman is mad wild, man. It's crime ridden. Like people are just going crazy in the street. Groups are running rampant. Organized crime, unorganized crime. Small gangs, big gangs. It's a very hectic group. It's a very hectic Gotham City compared to all the other ones. The Court of Owls was introduced to DC Comics in 2012 and has become more popular ever since. They appeared in TV series like Gotham and Gotham Knights and have served as an excellent theatrical foil that works well with some of Batman's darker and more grounded elements. The group is a secret cabal of Gotham's most wealthy and influential people. They are considered to be by many to be an urban legend that pulls the strings behind the scenes to shape Gotham. Um, Hundreds of years old, the Court of Oz is it's an overarching thread that is responsible for much of the corruption in Gotham City. This comes out of the group's desire to hold on to power. Made up of esteemed family members from throughout Gotham's history, the Court of Owls also employs many assassins known as the Talons. The brutal work of these assassins helps to keep the shadowy organization to the bulk of Gotham's residents. These Talons are violent, well connected, and effective. I remember, man, I remember I saw one video um, of this guy who was, I'm just trying to remember his name. Let me just check it out. He was in one of the Gotham games. Uh, in the Arkham games, Arkham Asylum games. Uh, yeah, man, he was like, I think he'd actually be a pretty cool, you know, standalone film. But obviously, uh, he would fit in very well in this film. Like, what's his name, man? He's like a warrior priest type thing. Is it Ezreal? Yes, it is Ezreal, man. Yeah, Ezreal. Oh, he's like an anti-hero, villain anti-hero, like how the Loki thing did. Like he'd actually be quite a cool thing because like he's someone that was controlled by the Court of Owls. Like he tries to do the right thing, but obviously he's manipulated by the Court of Owls, becoming their pawn to basically do whatever bidding that they want to do. They probably just convince him that something was wrong, and something wrong with someone. He take them out thinking that it's a good deed, but it is actually something very messed up that you had to do. So yeah, I would actually love to see that in this new Batman film. Uh, or hopefully like the one in the new DC one. I'd like to see Azrael. Azrael is a very compelling character. I'd even like to see him in his own standalone film, like that as a DC extended universe, Elseworlds universe as they call it. I'd like to see his own film. He's a very interesting character, man. Um, he says he's a Christian vigilante. I like this Christian vigilante and assassin, like you killing for the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Created by the Order of Saint Dumas and was derivatives or secretive religions seeking to restore justice to Gotham City through religious extremism. It's just crazy, man. It's just wild. Typically, there's been two versions of Azrael, typically portrayed as anti-heroes and reluctant allies of the superhero Batman and the Batman family. I mean, come on, man. If he doesn't appear in this film, I'd be disappointed because, like, he is. It. You need You need someone a hook to Batman for Batman to kind of have a reason to really fight or investigate the Court of Owls, and it'd be a good investigative kind of film. Like, why is this person killing these people, and who has he been sent by, and stuff like that. It'd be very interesting. Okay, yeah, done with that. Done with that article, and yeah, okay. So, oh, that article is not done. Um, okay, they just carry on to like uh, to name like a few characters that will be involved. like Lincoln March. He's not like an important character, but we're trying to see like bad guys with powers or things. We're not really trying to see like people like Carmine Falcone, who was a bad guy in the first one, like just some guy, a mafia boss. You want to see some guy in a suit in a costume doing crazy stuff that Batman has to fight, even if it is a grander story, like more akin to Bane or the Joker, like the Christopher Nolan series of Batman films, or even Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow. Like want to see something like that. I'm kind of I don't want to see Batman walking in a costume in a room full of people who are just, sitting there being typical gangsters. I want to see something, more hardcore, more comic booky, even if it is a grounded story. Um, okay. So while the arguments that the Court of Owls are unlikely to appear in the Batman Part 2, the fact is that the group fits in perfectly with the story already told in Matt Reeves' crime saga. Much of the groundwork has already been laid concerning the corruption in Gotham City, and having Batman face a group of powerful villains with significant ties to the city would make sense. As I said, Ezra would be perfect. Institutional power and corrupting elements was a major theme of the Batman, and I'm sure this will be further explored with the Court of Owls in the Batman Part 2. Yeah, I can't say much more. And okay, that's the article. Done and done. Okay, and the next article is about James Gunn has actually said. James Gunn has actually said that he would like to, you know, he unveiled the title. He was probably just spitballing as he does. He unveiled the title for a potential Batman and Superman team up movie. Let's see what it's called. Although DC Studios, let's read the article. Another, it's on Game Rant. The Kaz Xavier published 2 days ago. Although DC hasn't officially announced any Batman and Superman projects, signs point that DC fans can breathe easy under new leadership, but they're likely to face another Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice debacle. In fact, DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn has already revealed that he would like to what he would name a DC Universe movie featuring a team up between Batman and Superman. Before Batman and Superman potentially share the screen in the DCU, both superheroes are set to star in their own solo films. Gunn is already wrapped filming the DCU movie Superman, set to debut the character next year, 2025. We'll be there. Meanwhile, Batman's upcoming DC film, The Brave and the Bold, will explore the dynamic between Bruce Wayne and the Sun. Though the role of the Cape Crusader is yet to be cast. Unlike Superman, the Batman reboot lacks a release date and isn't expected to hit theaters until after Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2, which is separate from the DCU, arrives in 2026. I don't like this timeline of Batman. Like, there's going to be a Batman movie and then another Batman movie just not connected to. I mean, just cancel the first, Batman movie for trying to reset the whole universe, man. DC Studios head James Gunn has hinted that a Batman and Superman team-up film in the new universe will boast an iconic and fitting title. Gunn shared a Labor Day photo on his Instagram showing Batman, Superman, and Robin playing baseball, accompanied by the caption, "Have the world's finest Labor Day." As is often the case, Gunn's post quickly sparked discussion about the future of the DCU franchise. One fan fueled the fire by asking what Gunn would name a hypothetical movie starring a team up of Batman and Superman. Would they be called Batman and Superman or Superman and Batman? Gunn responded by saying he wouldn't use either of those mundane titles for a feature filming the two iconic DC superheroes, the two most powerful DC superheroes, according to some. Instead, Gunn hinted that the world's finest would be the title, referencing the classic comic book series that ran from 1941 to 1986, prominently featuring Batman and Superman in almost every issue. Yeah, man, that's mad. Uh, the iconic moniker World's Finest first became linked with Batman and Superman in 1941 when DC Comics released a comic book featuring the two legendary heroes under that title. Initially published as the world's best comics, the series officially adopted the name The World's Finest Comics, starting with the second issue. The comic began as an oversized quarterly anthology, showcasing the adventures of Batman and Superman, often accompanied by Batman's sidekick Robin in the early stories, as well as appearances by other DC superheroes. Come on! I'm sorry, people. My dog just walked. Hey! What the hell's up with this stuff? Okay. Where were we? Often accompanied by Batman's sidekick Robin in the early stories, as well as appearances by other DC superheroes. Just give me a second. Okay. Yeah, man. Sorry about that. Just the dog wilding out. Yeah. By the 1950s, the series transitioned to a regular publication format, focusing on the dynamic duo of Batman and Superman, a structure that has since become a cornerstone of DC Comics' legacy. Another DC fan followed up on Gunn's comment about the World's Finest title by asking if the project was officially part of the DCU slate. Gunn didn't respond, but it's likely that DC Studios will eventually release that film. I don't think they should do it, man. Like, just make a Justice League film and be done with it. And if you wanna focus on the relationship of Batman and Superman, just do it in the Justice League film. It'll be easier that way. You don't have to like dedicate a whole movie to the two people, man. Or just give Batman a film where Superman is just engaged in, or vice versa. Although Batman and Superman, of course, starred in 3 films, none have carried the world's finest title. Instead, they were named Batman and Superman Public Enemies, Batman and Superman Apocalypse, Batman and Superman Dawn of Justice, with the 2016 installment often facing criticism for turning Batman and Superman's first live-action encounter into a dark and violent conflict. Many fans believe the DCU needs to rectify that by delivering a world's finest movie that unites Batman and Superman and possibly Robin in a more traditional manner. If Gunn successfully reboots Superman in 2025, and as Gunn is good, there's very little doubt that he'd probably do a good job. He did a good job with the Suicide Squad, so I doubt he'd fail with this one. And the Brave and the Bold Batman reboot also resonates with audiences. World's Finest could become one of the most anticipated cinematic events. Let's see. Superman debuting in July 2025 marks the first film in the DCU, while The Brave and the Bold is still awaiting an official release date. And yeah, that's the end of that article, man. I don't think this film would be that I don't think it's necessary to make a film Batman, Superman, as I said. Like, yeah. Okay, let's go to the next article. Basically, this is the one, that I basically said it's gonna be up in the air, man. And probably this is gonna be a marker of whether or not the DCU Elseworlds banner would be a success or not, because I don't know why they have a separate, live action DC films canon running when it's just supposed to be one main canon. Like, it doesn't make sense. Joker Folie à Deux has premiered at the Venice Film Festival, and many of the early reviews have helped reframe the title of DC Universe sequel. Screen Run's review of the Joker Folie à Deux makes mention of this, as do several other reviews for the film. Following reception of the first Joker, which also debuted at the festival, the studio hoped to capture some of that same acclaim and excitement. That trajectory allowed Joker to become the highest grossing R-rated movie at the time. Unfortunately, despite receiving a standing ovation, the reviews for the sequel have been mixed. Uh, okay, what was that? That trajectory allowed Joker to become the highest grossing R-rated movie ever at the time. Unfortunately, despite receiving a standing ovation, the reviews for a sequel have been mixed. While multiple Batman characters appeared in the Joker movies, the first film was clearly set up as a standalone character piece, and the second has been constructed as an unusual romantic musical. Using components of the DC universe, Todd Phillips has gone out of his way to create something unique to discuss mental illness. This iteration of the Joker has a great deal to say to this audience. While the first film did this to much acclaim, the response to the sequel have not been nearly as consistent so far. Uh, so clearly, this is not going to, like, even when the film was in development, man, people have been having a problem with the whole film that is going to be a musical, with the whole Folie à Deux title, which is like not a whole lot of people speak French or understand what that's about. Or multiple, okay, the article continues to say, while multiple Batman characters appear in Joker movies, the first film was clearly set up as a standalone character piece, and the second has been constructed as an unusual romantic musical. Using components of the DC universe, director Todd Phillips has gone out of his way to create something. Okay. I read that already. Joker Folie à Deux has, oh man, Joker Folie à Deux has debuted on Rotten Tomatoes with a 60% fresh score from 43 critic reviews. While not a terrible result, this does lag behind the first Joker's Rotten Tomatoes score. Much of the film's impact will have to be measured by audience reactions when available. While some of the critics have been kind to the film, several reviews have highlighted that the film is boring and unsuccessful. Flick Review says, "It is not a version of the Joker inherently wrong, but it is an interesting. Please let us be done with this." And that is not an excellent start. That's not a good start, man. Um, okay, the first one, it's actually the first, Rotten Tomato score for the Rotten Tomato score of the first film is not actually far off the second film. The Rotten Tomato score film for the first one has 69%, while the second one has 60%. And thus, the audience Rotten Tomato score is yet to be decided, yet to be announced, because obviously the film hasn't been released to a wider audience. Cinema Blend called the film overindulgent, while Vanity Fair claimed it was a startlingly dull, pointless procedural that seemed to. Okay, what happened? Yeah, sorry. That was just the trailer playing on the site that I was reading it on. Where was I? A pointless procedural that seems to disdain its audience. IndieWire said it was an excruciating, perhaps even deliberately boring sequel that does everything in its power to amuse you. These responses seem consistent with even the bulk of the positive reviews viewing the film as a step down from its predecessor. Despite unique musical elements and the excellent addition of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, the bulk of critics believe that the film has missed the mark, at least in part. Yeah, man, that's not good news. But one thing I can say is that not all films that have lukewarm reception from film critics have been, have been failures. Like a lot of films which have had bad reviews or not, exceptionally good reviews have found the audience, and they've given the audience something that they could connect to. You know, like the first film, the first Joker, a lot of people loved it. Joaquin Phoenix's performance was electric, and um, even though the story was a bit flimsy, everyone liked it. It was an undoubted runaway success. Everything known about Joker 2 seemed to suggest that the film would continue the empathetic mythologizing of the villain, but that is not the case. The BBC said Phillips has devoted a sequel to the message that Flick is a wimpy, self-centered stooge who lets down everyone around him. Many of the reviews make similar claims about how the character was handled. The first film showed Joker as a vulnerable, exploited figure, and many viewers saw this as permission for the horrible actions he would later take. The sequel wishes to distance itself from that message. Rather than allowing him to be an inspirational figure, the sequel goes out of its way to ensure that Arthur Fleck is seen for the destructive and harmful force that he is. This appears to be a comment on the intent of the original film, which did not look to glorify his actions. Despite this, many fans glommed on this incarnation of the Joker and saw him as something to aspire to. I don't think a lot of people actually said that, They just said, I don't think his actions were really condoned, but people were more happy that he was being freed because he was in a very confined situations. Not per se confined by people, but being confined by the way he was living, and he even in himself he was trying to be confined in a way that he had to try to act normal when he didn't really have to in that situation, because he has an issue and he was just trying to live his truth. And I think that's what people clung onto in the first film. Phillips has made it clear that with this new film that this is certainly not true. So this article says they finally get the real meaning of Joker 2's title. The madness of 2 refers to the mythologizing of the Joker character. Folio Due refers to the madness of 2, or a shared delusion between two people. This is often used as a term for love and has been expected to refer to the relationship between Harley and Arthur in the film. Instead, it seems now to refer to the relationship between Arthur and a certain portion of the audience. Despite his violent acts, many audiences have celebrated Joker's actions, participating in a shared delusion with the film, with the villain. The duo referred to Arthur and his audience. Okay. This is a clever response to the first film's reception, although it remains to be seen how this will resonate with audiences who loved the first film. Joker went on to be a major box office success and garnered several Academy Award nominations. With the controversy attached here and a clear disdain for its own audience, it seems likely that the second film will not have the same effect. Yeah, but you don't really know that. Okay, it'll be interesting to see this response when the film is released next month. Joker as a villain and mythologizing the character is a dangerous line to walk. While there is much empathy to be drawn from stories about socially miscast, there is also a great danger in giving violent figures too much appeal. But the potential for hero worship to distort perceptions is a clear danger, and it's evident the portrayal of Arthur in Joker Folio Due has a clear intent. The impact of his reflection within the first film will surely be something interesting to behold. So yeah, man, not great, but also you never know how audiences would react to this. So it's up in the air. We'll have to see how it does on the first day and on its opening weekend. And I have a feeling DC films have a track record that even if the critics' reviews are not good, the audience will find something to relate to and attach to, and usually will like to spite the critics in a way, because not many. Let me say, not many DC films have been properly praised for trying to do something different or something new. And yeah, as we see, superhero films are becoming stale, and films are becoming stale as well. So yeah, man, give the people what they want. Maybe they like it, maybe they won't. So this article, it's not an amazing, uh, not an amazing article or good, or specifically good news about the whole film. Um, this thing, it remains to be seen. It will be remain to be seen how this affects the whole, how this affects the DC extended Elseworlds film in the long run. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, thank you. Like and subscribe. How's that done?